All right, well, looks like The Last of Us Part 2 is truly The Last of Us of Part 2. For those of you who are hoping that maybe there's going to be a Part 3, well, I hate to break it to you, but there won't be the Part 3. How do I know this? Well, recently Neil Druckman was being interviewed on the Variety ahead of The Last of Us Season 2, which is coming up now in April. And he was asked about this question regarding The Last of Us Part 3 video game. As you all know, that Neil Druckman is busy with working on another project that's about space bounty hunters, so he's focused on that. And he said the following on the interview, speaking to the Variety. He says, I was waiting for this question. And Druckman said, apparently, a hypothetical that The Last of Us Part 3 would be happening. He says, my only answer to people is, I would say, don't bet on there being more of The Last of Us. This could be it. Those are his words. He says, don't bet on it that there's going to be Last of Us Part 3. This could be it. So it's interesting how Naughty Dog decided to move on. I mean, don't get me wrong, they made 2 successful games, Part 1, Part 2. And now they worked on a very successful TV show on HBO, Season 1, Season 2. And I guess they're moving on to another project. Now, from my perspective, okay, if I'm looking at it from a fanboy perspective, because I'm a fan of this game, I would say, oh, really? We're just going to leave it like that? We're not going to continue and make this trilogy to find out what happened to Ellie, right? And I forgot the other chick's name. Forgive me for it's been a long time since I played the game. Ellie and the other chick, whose name I forgot. Anyway, they fought at the end. Spoilers warning. Ellie decided to spare her life. She didn't kill her. Okay, and it happened somewhere in Santa Monica. I don't know, but this is the apocalyptic version of Santa Monica, all right? And she let her go. Like, she didn't kill her. She was about to. And then she dropped a knife and she let her go. It was a big fight. It was like on the beach. And we don't know what happens after that. And trying to remember the name of that chick. That killed Joel, and it's driving me crazy now. What was her name? Abby. Yes, Abby. So Abby, this is a skinnier version of Abby, she's not like, all bulky and everything. At the end, she's been through a lot too. And she lost everything. I mean, what's so tragic about both Abby and Ellie in a Part 2 is that both of them have lost everything. That's Abby right there. And for what? All because of this vengeance. Abby was driven by a vengeance. And of course, when Abby killed Joel Miller, Ellie was driven by vengeance as well. So both of them were driven by vengeance in the midst of this apocalyptic zombie outbreak, right? Chaos, end of the civilization type scenario. And the ending was really unique of the part 2. And I felt that there should be a part 3. There should be something for us to find some sort of a closure to this Last of Us trilogy. I think that The Last of Us needs a trilogy. I think part 3 should be the end. After part 3, that's it. Like, I'm okay with it. But I think that there should have been a part 3. There should have been a conclusion to the part 3. That's if you ask me from a fanboyistic point of view. But if I'm looking at this from a Neil Druckman business point of view, especially now that you're working on another project, I would play it safe and I would say, yeah, don't bet on it either. But was this the right decision for Neil Druckman to move on to another project? You know, this kind of reminds me of CD Projekt Red, remember? With the success of The Witcher 3. Okay, and then CD Projekt Red went on to work on another project called Cyberpunk 2077, and we all know how that worked out when it was released. So I'm kind of seeing the same similarities between Naughty Dog and CD Projekt Red. When everybody was expecting CD Projekt Red to be making another Witcher 4 instead of Cyberpunk. So I'm kind of looking at this through the same lens, through kind of a same perspective. Like Naughty Dog, you know that The Last of Us Part 3 would be the most anticipated game ever. That's like guaranteed you're going to make money. That's like, I don't have to worry about it, money in the bank, it's guaranteed. Regardless of how people might feel about the story or whatever the features you put into it. So The Last of Us Part 3 would be guaranteed. Win-win. And it would be a perfect game for PlayStation 6 to show off what PlayStation 6 could do. I mean, what better game to be released on PlayStation 6 to take full advantage of PlayStation 6 than The Last of Us Part 3? I mean, that would be it. For PlayStation, for Sony, that would be a guaranteed moneymaker. Like, we don't have to worry about that. But unfortunately, Neil Druckmann wants to focus on another game, you know. So, I don't know. The reason I'm making this video because I want to hear what you guys think about Neil Druckmann and his decision. Because me personally, I think as an artist, we have to respect the artist's decision. You know, like Troy Baker says, you don't have to agree with the decision. You know, but at the same time, you have to respect. Hey, it's his project. He feels that this is the way it should end on the part 2. Tragically, everybody lost everything. Abby lost everything. Ellie lost everything. And they have nothing. And vengeance doesn't work. Maybe that's the message. I think that was the message, I guess, in The Last of Us Part 2, that Neil Druckmann philosophically was trying to kind of inject that, hey, vengeance doesn't work. We are fueled by vengeance, but at the end it doesn't work. And vengeance just brings nothing good. And nobody wins at the end. Everybody loses. And if you play The Last of Us Part 2, I mean, that's essentially the message. Joel never wanted her. See, this is the thing about Joel. Joel would have never wanted her to go on this vengeance path. Joel knew that his destiny one way would have haunted him because of what he did in that Firefly Hospital, right? And he knew that it would come to haunt him, but he was okay with that because he felt that he did the right thing for Ellie, so that Ellie could have a life. So he knew that this would come to bite him one day, but he was okay with that. Remember, he said he would have done it again and again and again, millions of times. Because otherwise, what would be the purpose for him to move on? So Joel would have never wanted Ellie to go out there and go on this vengeance, crusade. But apparently she did. So she went on this vengeance crusade, and she lost everybody. They all lost everything. Same thing with Abby. Driven by vengeance, she lost everything. They both lost everything when they were at the end of that game, when they were fighting on that beach. They lost everything. Both of them lost everything. And I guess Neil Druckman feels like, well, this is where the game should end. The vengeance doesn't work. It might satisfy that itch that you have, but you will lose everything. But at what cost, right? You have that itch of vengeance to satisfy your itch of vengeance, but at what cost? How much are you willing to pay? And at the end, we find out in The Last of Us Part 2 that it's not worth it. You lose everything. You go bankrupt. And so the decision that was made by Neil Druckman not to now look, it's not set in stone. He's simply saying that there isn't going to be any The Last of Us Part 3. He's simply saying don't bet on there being The Last of Us Part 3. And when he says that, you should take his word, because he's in charge of this game. He's in charge of this franchise. He's a very important figure in the Naughty Dog. So the decision whether or not this game is going to be made, if Neil Druckmann tells you don't bet on it, well, guys, don't bet on it. It's not going to happen. I think this is it. Am I sad by it? I kind of am. I'm a little bit sad by this decision. But then again, I respect an artist's decision, So that's it. I guess this is it, guys. That's the Last of Us Part 2. But what do you think? You think we might see Last of Us Part 3? You think that Neil Druckmann might change his mind? Or I think this is it. I'm just going to be honest. I want to end this video by saying I think honestly this is it. This is all you saw. This is all she wrote. This is it, guys. That's it. Thank you for watching.